What's up, YouTube? This is Wow Echo. I'm Parker,
I'm Zach.
I'm Rachel.
and we are here for a special video that has been highly anticipated by us for a while now. And it's kind of a requirement for any wrestling YouTube channel once the end of the year comes about. You must talk about the best matches of the year, and that's what we're here to do. We have our top 10 matches of 2017 in the WWE. Obviously, we want to just let you guys know that these are our opinions. So if you have different ones, that's perfectly fine. There are some great matches that we left off this list, and there are some matches in here that are our reasoning for why they deserve to be on here. You might disagree with, and so you might have thought a match deserved it more than this. So that's totally cool. So just let us know in the comments what your top 10 matches of the year are, and we would love to hear it because we love to get your guys' feedback on everything. But we decided to just go with top 10 matches because we've been very negative towards WWE a lot this year.
That's true.
So we thought, let's just be positive towards the end of the year, and not talk about all the terrible decisions they made.
And on a positive note, though, it was hard to decide, like, the order, not only just the order, but there were several matches that we had to cut off.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
Even that there were many terrible matches of the year.
Oh, yeah.
But
anything involving Jinder Mahal was
that's
obviously not making the match.
That's
the
true.
list. But before we get into the list, I wanted to kind of talk about four things in particular that they're not matches, but they're moments of the year that I thought made the year great for all the times that we talked down about this year in wrestling. There were some moments that were amazing. First of all, AJ Styles was incredible this year, and what's really cool is that he both began and is ending the year as the WWE champion. Of course, he didn't spend a whole lot of time in between the year as champion, unfortunately, but it's really cool, and I don't know that it's seen that often to see a person begin the year and end the year as the world champion. I'm sure John Cena's done it, obviously, but
anyone other without a year-long reign,
exactly,
it's hard to see that.
It's hard to see that a lot. So I think that's really, really cool, and obviously AJ was phenomenal, as you'll see coming up in the list. We've got him a couple of times on there.
Yeah.
Second of all, we had the return of the Hardy Boys.
Yes.
Awaited return. It was fantastic. It was an awesome moment. We saw them return and become tag team champions immediately. And, while it was unfortunate that Jeff did get injured a few months ago, we now have the beginnings of Woken Matt Hardy in the WWE. And, of course, since it's only in its beginning stages, we don't know for sure how it's going to go, but it's looking good so far if you've been watching the Royal Rundown, by the way. # shameless plug. So that's obviously been great. Another thing that has been fantastic about this year was the re-coming together of the Shield. Obviously, it hasn't been perfect like we would have hoped. Unforeseen things like illnesses and injuries have taken away some of the hype of the return of these superstars together, but nevertheless, they are still a team. And once injuries get healed, unless they go with a storyline of a certain heel turn, which we might be talking about in the Raw Rundown, you never know. # shameless plug number 2. So we do have the team together. So
I like, though, that they acted like a sort of faction without necessarily having a team up so often.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I think that's one cool thing about this reunion is even though the team itself has kind of fallen through with the different illnesses and things that go on, it's still kind of cool that they recognize themselves as brothers again.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the Shield.
That's what's great about that. And then finally, this, and maybe this is the best part of the year. This is definitely, without a doubt, been the year of Braun Strowman.
Yes.
This has been his year. He has been the best part of WWE, barring perhaps AJ Styles and maybe Brock Lesnar when he shows up. Braun has been amazing. Obviously, last year it was his start to fame, but really what made him was the beginning of the year with the Royal Rumble. where he interfered with the Universal title match, attacking Roman Reigns, which really began that amazing feud, which is probably feud of the year, I would say, between the two of them. And then his performance in the Rumble was great, and then that led to just some amazing things throughout the year, which was awesome. Those are just some things that I wanted to throw out that we personally thought were incredible things about the year for WWE. But without further ado, we're going to jump into our top 10 WWE matches of 2017.
And just so as not to confuse anyone, which of course there'll be graphics on the screen and whatever.
Yeah.
We did split this list up on who's going to talk about what matches. So it's not two separate lists at all. It's top 10.
We came
Wawa Echo top 10.
We discussed these things together.
Yep.
Of what 10 matches were going to be on the list, and in what order we wanted everything. This was a team effort between us.
Yeah.
So Rachel contributed loads. She was the backbone of the whole list. Without this, there would be no.
Without me, there would be no Wawa Echo.
Probably that's not true at all. We wouldn't have a Twitter account. That's something that she's got going on. Let's not talk about that. This is a positive list.
Yes,
and we don't want to cry.
So we'll start with number 10.
Ty Dillinger at the Royal Rumble.
Oh gosh,
that was a cool moment.
It was too predictable.
Yeah, it was.
But
is he able to ever enter in the Royal Rumble at any other number, or is that just gonna by luck he just happens to draw number 10 every year?
I feel like they should go with that. I feel like
that would be funny as if they showed him draw his number and it just happens to be 10 every
year. That'd be great. But starting with number 10, we have Roman Reigns versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania 33. This match was incredible from sort of the aftermath perspective, looking back at it, because we know, or we don't necessarily know for sure, but we're pretty sure this is Undertaker's last match. And at the end of the match, let's just talk about the match real quick. The match itself, from a wrestling standpoint, wasn't fantastic, and I think that has a lot to do with the fact that Undertaker's been wrestling for well over 20 years.
Oh, yeah, 25,
I think.
25? Yeah, 25, 26 years.
I think it's been about that, yeah. I mean, I get it, and even for that, it was a pretty decent match. It wasn't a terrible, boring, flat out, whatever match. It was really good, and I think Roman carried himself in the match very well as well. And we saw a lot of Roman playing heel in the match, and that's what we've been wanting to see more of. And especially at the very end, I can't remember exactly what he said. I wish I had thought about it before this, but he said, or Undertaker said, "You don't have the balls," or something like that. That was great. Right before delivering the last spear, and you could see the anger in Roman Reigns' face, and then it ended whenever Roman bounced off the ropes 3 times and hit him with this gigantic spear.
You never see somebody kick out of Roman's spear, so.
Well, not just that, but I think it was. Yeah, that's true.
So that was pretty good.
And I think it was unique because it was that's what it takes to put out the Undertaker is it's not just something that anyone can do. You have to do something big and spectacular. So, but and then after the match, we had Roman walking down the ramp, doing whatever, and the camera cuts to the Undertaker, who has his hat back on and his jacket back on as well. And he takes each one off one by one and just lays it in the middle of the ring, which is an old school way of saying, "I'm done, I'm retired." And that's exactly what he said.
Yeah, probably.
What's most interesting about this, I think, is that they left his gear in the ring while
for an hour or more.
Well, I think it was way more because they were almost done deconstructing the entire WrestleMania.
Which is just awesome respect.
So much respect. So that's why this match had to make the list, and it was really hard to put it at number 10. But I mean, all things considered, really what made this match spectacular was the possibility of it being the Undertaker's retirement match.
It was really the story of it that made it so great.
Right.
not necessarily in ring work because it was limited by Taker's age and his body and so.
But like I said, I think Roman dealt with that pretty well.
He did good for sure. As much as people rag on Roman, Roman's a great wrestler and a great performer. So great match.
And then moving on to number 9, it's almost the opposite reason. We have a breakout superstar in Braun Strowman facing off against the Big Show on Raw of February 20th. And this match has probably gotten lost in obscurity in some people's minds. But I think it stands out to be one of Roman. I was about to say Roman. I'm still stuck on number 10, guys.
Yeah.
Undertaker's just so good. But one of Braun Strowman's standout matches. This was the match that I would say probably jump-started his career as far as like a main eventer because even I was like at first I was behind him, but I was like I really don't know how this is gonna go because even when he was with the Wyatt family, he didn't get much experience. He was still very green in the ring and like.
For sure.
I was just like, because he's so massive, you never see like really good athletes that massive, and so, but not only Braun Strowman though. Let's not forget about the Big Show.
Big Show was amazing.
He got himself in great shape, and he put on a heck of a match with Strowman. He kept up every step of the way, and I think he's been wrestling probably 20 years.
About 20 years as well.
Yeah.
So and he hasn't gotten as much credit as he deserves, I think.
Oh no, definitely not
by far. So I think this was cool, and it was definitely a passing of the torch of the Giants, the old Giant to the new Giant. And let's talk about that ending. Busted.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the ending.
Yeah.
Because they have had a couple matches that's been really good, but the ring exploded when which one gave the superplex? I think it was Braun
gave it to Big Show.
So Braun superplex the Big Show, and the ring collapsed, and it was fantastic. We haven't seen that in a long time.
The best ref bump of all time.
Oh my gosh, that
was so
bad.
Awesome. It was like the ref didn't even know. Like you should not have been in that spot, man. But it was so cool, and like the crowd went wild.
Yeah.
And it was so cool, and then obviously Braun stood up, and the match didn't. It ended like I guess a no contest or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but Braun definitely standing tall was showing him as the victor.
Yeah, so I think all around what makes this match great is that it was the start, pretty much the start of Strowman's main event. It showed that he could hang with the big stars, and that Big Show still had some left in the tank.
Yeah,
it was
for sure.
Fantastic match between the two. Really good ending. Really good way to end a really good match.
Yeah, definitely. And for number 8, we had a match that culminated, or one of my favorite stories of the year, which was Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins versus Sheamus and Cesaro at SummerSlam of this year. Obviously, the culmination was we had for I think a month or so leading up to SummerSlam, we had Ambrose and Rollins reluctantly kind of helping each other out as they were being attacked by Sheamus and Cesaro. Ambrose would be attacked by Sheamus and Cesaro, and then Rollins would run out and kind of save him. And then the next week, Rollins was getting beat up, and so Ambrose came out and saved him. And there was the tease of are they going to get back together? Or is the Shield going to come back together? And it was so hype at that moment. And you could see, I think that Ambrose and Rollins both did very well in the storytelling leading up to the match, because you could see their reluctance to kind of trust each other, because obviously Ambrose had trusted Rollins before and been stabbed in the back, and then Rollins, I'm sure, wasn't sure if he could trust Ambrose to not stab him in the back, and so there was I think it was like the week before SummerSlam, they finally came together with the fist bump, and just the moment, like, it was cool because they went like back and forth of like one sticking out their fist and the other would not, but like hesitating, and then finally they put it together at the same time, and the crowd just erupted, and it was such an awesome moment, and to me really great storytelling, because right before that they had also brawled for a minute for a few minutes before they did that, and I thought that was really great because it's kind of what you do with brothers. Sometimes brothers fight, and and really your fights with your brothers are your most brutal fights, honestly, a lot of times. And but all in all, brothers are together at the end, and so I thought that was a really awesome story, and I thought Ambrose and Rollins told it really well, and then that led into the hypeness of the match because we were like, are they really going to put the titles on them immediately? And that was so cool. And the match was awesome. It was super fast paced. Everyone obviously was a fantastic performer. One awesome highlight for sure in the match was when Cesaro ran into the crowd and grabbed the beach ball and ripped it open because no one was given the like. I was like, honestly, I was hugely surprised how disrespectful the crowd was with the story that had been told for this match. How they just weren't paying attention. They were throwing this beach ball around. Rachel cameo right there. And then so Cesaro goes and rips that beach ball, which was just awesome, awesome heel work for him, and I think that was really great. And it got the crowd back into the match, and so it continued on, and it ended with Sheamus getting the knee of Rollins, which still has no name, and then right into turning around right into Dean Ambrose's dirty deeds for the pin, and they were the champions, and it was such a hype moment. Two of them coming together, and it culminated in them winning the titles. For me, made it one of my favorite matches and stories of the year, for sure.
Definitely, and of course that kind of led up to the reunion of the Shield.
Yeah.
That we've already talked about. So all around, even still, an ongoing story to be told.
Yeah, definitely.
But going on next is number 7, John Cena versus, at the time, WWE Champion AJ Styles for the championship at the Royal Rumble back in January. And this was, honestly, I think this was a lot of the storytelling as well.
For sure.
Honestly, it was actually unpredictable for me because, I didn't actually think that Cena would win because
I didn't think they'd ever let the tie with Flair happen.
Well, it wasn't that. I thought they would let. Basically, I'll just go ahead and say it though. Reason why it's so big of a deal is because John Cena was at that point. He was the challenger, but he had been a 15-time world champion. So him winning this match made him the 16-time world champion, which ties Ric Flair's record. And I wasn't surprised that John Cena matched the record. I was surprised that he did it at the Royal Rumble. Not WrestleMania or not SummerSlam. I could not see it happen at Survivor Series. But Royal Rumble for me would be third on the list. I know for you it's second. Second best.
It's my favorite of the four. In all honesty, but definitely when it comes to the order of where WWE kind of sees their importance, it's probably about third.
But it gives Royal Rumble is a very special event. So I do think that him winning this for the 16th time wasn't necessarily a mistake with it being at the Royal Rumble. But let's talk about the match itself, though. Man, people rag on John Cena for not being a good wrestler or for having 5 moves or whatever. And while that is true for a lot of matches, this one, I think it was mainly because of who he was facing. That kind of pushed him past his limit. And so we saw, John Cena did a lot of things, not necessarily that he hasn't done before, that he doesn't pull out in every match. And you could tell when John Cena really, when he knows it's a high-profile match or he knows he wants to put on a good match, he can. And, of course, like I said in the SmackDown survey for this week, hashtag shameless plug, there's really not a match that AJ Styles can have that's not good. It's just... I don't remember a match that has ever been bad at all.
For sure.
So this was good. We saw again John Cena picking up the victory, but with special 2 AAs, which I think Styles may have kicked out of 1 or 2 before that point.
Yeah, he kicked out of a couple. They actually traded finishers. And kickouts for the kind of last couple of minutes. And so John Cena delivers 2 AAs
on AJ Styles and picks up the victory that way. And I found it kind of weird that like maybe I don't know why he didn't do a third one because that'd been really cool. But also, like, I'm surprised he didn't go for one off the top rope. Actually, I think
he did. He did do that,
and then Styles kicked out of that. And that's the only person that I know of who's ever kicked out of it because that's what John Cena saves for
it is
the bigger guys, and so that just kind of shows how big this match was.
Yeah.
And, unfortunately, Cena lost the title at Elimination Chamber.
The Elimination Chamber.
So it was like you have your 16th reign, but it only lasts about a month, whatever.
Yeah, which it was cool that he was willing to give, like, because a lot of people talk about Cena, kind of stealing the spotlight.
Right.
But Cena was willing to give up
to Bray Wyatt.
To Bray Wyatt. And,
so that was kind of cool.
And I've seen a lot of people's lists, and a lot of people have put the Elimination Chamber match on their list, which I thought about. But I felt that with kind of the aftermath of it, with such a lackluster title reign for Bray, that that really hurt it for me in my eyes. And I know a lot of people are fans of the new structure, but I'm not. It doesn't look as dangerous anymore.
It doesn't even look cool.
Yeah, it doesn't. So, but moving on, we have number 6, which was one of my favorite matches of the year personally. We had Neville versus Austin Aries at Extreme Rules. This was a submission match for the Cruiserweight Championship. And obviously it is sad that both wrestlers in this match are, at least as of this point, we don't know for sure on Neville, like 100%, but as of right now, it is believed that both members of this match are gone from WWE, which is sad because they were two of the greatest wrestlers that we had, and also the only things good about 205 Live. So that was obviously sad, but the rivalry they had was really, really good. Their trifecta of matches at WrestleMania, and then I believe it was Payback. I think it was Payback, and then Extreme Rules. They had their 3 matches, and each one was great in its own way. But I think that Extreme Rules was the best of the 3, and it surprised me how great this match was, because when I heard about it, I was like, submission match? That's no fun. Like, I don't.
Especially for cruiserweight.
It was a weird decision for me, because I was like, that's about like grounding your opponent and like trying to smother them or choke them out or whatever like that. And I'm like, that's not what I expect from like cruiserweights. Like, let's make this a ladder match. Come on, like, which still has not happened. There's still been no ladder matches for the cruiserweight title. I don't know why. Of course, the cruiserweights doesn't matter anymore since Neville left. So, but this match was actually so good. The technical wrestling that both Neville and Aries showed was really well done, and what was great was the character work, especially from Neville, like putting on like just killer submissions, like really showing heel work really well. His character was so great, and they just went back and forth, and it really could have went either way, I felt like. But the ending spot was, to me, the highlight of all of it, where Aries was down on it, and he had like kind of rolled over onto his stomach, and Neville went for the red arrow and hit Aries on his back, and then immediately turned that into his submission, which was, I believe, called the Rings of Saturn, which is probably hands down one of my favorite submission moves, just because it actually looks legit.
It does.
Unlike some moves like the figure 4 or the sharpshooter, sometimes they look good, but most of the time not. But that move was awesome, and I thought the way it was done, especially because Neville hardly ever pulled out the red arrow once he turned heel, just because that's such a hype move and everyone loved it. So for him to do that in this match showed the importance of it, and then turning that into the submission for the tap, to me was a really beautiful, well done way to finish it, and to me it was just really awesome. I loved it for sure.
Mm-hmm. That was a really good match, and they all, like you said, they had great matches every time they face each other. The next match we're going to talk about is at Survivor Series, whenever the tag team champions faced off against one another. The SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Usos, versus the Raw Tag Team Champions, the Bar. And talk about good tag team matches. We've actually, honestly, we've had a really good year for tag team matches.
This was one of the best tag team matches year
because we've already had one that we talked about on this list.
Yeah.
We have another one more on this list.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, like this has been the year for the Usos. The New Day have like kind of revitalized themselves as a team.
Oh, for sure.
You have the Bar kind of officially like having that name, and and you have the Hardys coming back. You have
Ambrose and Rollins.
Well, Ambrose and Rollins, and then ultimately the Shield. So I mean, this has been a great year. But having the tag team champions face off against one another at Survivor Series, and having these two to be the teams. Which at one point it was speculated that it was going to be the Shield and New Day, and then like they weren't sure, and there were a lot of different things that were going on. But honestly, I'm glad that it wound up being Usos in the Bar because these are four very very talented wrestlers, and the Usos rarely have a bad. In fact, none of these really have a bad match. It's really Cesaro and Sheamus. Like if they have their own singles matches, kind of. It also depends on who they face. But when they're together, it's always fantastic. This was a very back and forth kind of match as well, and it honestly could have went either way, and kind of had me sitting on the edge of my seat, like wondering who was going to win. And I believe the Usos ultimately did win this match to show themselves supreme tag team of WWE, and but because the match was so good, like the Bar lost absolutely no credibility. And just the tag team division altogether. This is what I feel like maybe the match of the year that showed like the tag teams like this year are above and beyond what they have been in recent years, which was well needed. We've needed the Usos to be heel like this. We've needed people like the Bar, and we've needed the New Day to revitalize themselves. So I feel like this was good. I don't unless you have other spots in the match that you could think of. Honestly, like
it was tough because the whole match was just a spot fest.
It really was.
There really wasn't any like dead time in the match.
Right.
And it was super fast paced. And both teams just like you said went back and forth, hit hard hitting moves. So no, I don't remember any like super specific spots. It's just that all the spots were great. Like,
it was just a fantastic match.
Yeah.
So it definitely earned its spot at number 5.
Yeah, definitely. And what's funny is number 4 is also from Survivor Series this year. It is an incredible match. It was the main champions up against each other. The Universal Champion versus the WWE Champion. Brock Lesnar versus AJ Styles. The Beast versus the Phenomenal One. It was so good, and I'm still hyped by the match because it was so good. Obviously, there wasn't a lot of story going into it, especially because AJ did win the title. Like I think the week before,
it was like 5 or 6 days before,
or maybe like it might have been the week before that. It was like one of the last 2 weeks before the pay-per-view where he did win the championship. Which praise the Lord, for that, because that was the biggest blessing ever. Because Lord knows we did not want to see Jinder Mahal in that spot. So. And he brought out the best match Jinder Mahal's ever done that time when he won the championship. So obviously, there wasn't a lot of time for there to be much to build towards the match. But the match itself, the storytelling that was told, was incredible. One of, I think, the best stories told in a match of the whole year. Brock Lesnar and AJ just were really worked well together. It started off with Brock having most of the momentum, most of the putting most of the punishment to AJ with a bunch of suplexes and all that. And AJ selling was top notch. It was fantastic how much AJ sold for Brock. And to his credit, Brock would later on sell really well for AJ, which was really cool. But it really showed this kind of David and Goliath story, or um, Rocky Balboa story. You know, the underdog that you love going against this like seemingly unstoppable force, and the story of they start out at the bottom and they're really taking a lot of hits, but then they start kind of pushing back and they get their advantage, and so they take it and they start. And that was what AJ did. I think he made like Brock stumble on something, and then just went at him and with everything he had, and it was really, really cool. He countered Brock into his calf crusher, and Brock sold the crap out of that calf crusher. Even after the match was over, he like buckled and like was like limping so hard, um, which was great. And then it was really cool, kind of the back and forth. Once that happened, they kind of had a little more back and forth, but then it ended where AJ went for, I believe it was like the second or third phenomenal forearm, and Brock caught him for the F5. And uh, well, you know, I would have loved if AJ could have gotten a kick out of one F5. I think that would have been even better. It was still a really awesome match. A really, like I said, really well, like the storytelling of it that AJ especially put through. But Brock, of course, did his role 100%. You know, AJ couldn't have done that by himself. It wouldn't have been quite as good. It would have probably made like number 10 if AJ had been alone in the ring, just because it's AJ. But it was fantastic, and I think that, you know, the way Brock's booked having him win wasn't the wrong decision necessarily, but it was kind of like the match before where AJ losing hurt him in no way at all.
Right.
You know, he showed such fantastic work in that match, and the crowd was super hyped for everything, and it was I was hyped for it. It was awesome. It was my favorite match of that whole night, and one of my favorite matches, maybe my favorite match personally of the year. Just my from storytelling, but also in ring. Like, well, I think there are a couple matches we'll get into that I think were better. Like overall, I think that this was probably my personal favorite match of the year. And then I forgot that I was going right after. Uh, the next match at number 3 was a match that might seem surprising to everyone, because we don't really talk about NXT very often at all. I am currently trying to catch up with NXT. Um, I'm trying to get back into it. I kind of lost the desire for watching it once a lot of my favorite people left to go to the main roster. Um, so it's been difficult to want to watch it, but I'm trying to get back into it uh, and get caught up to where I can kind of know who's in there and who is likely to come up next to the main roster. So we don't watch a lot of NXT, and we don't really watch their pay per views or anything like that. But there's one match that we could not ignore from just how much love the fans gave to it. I had to watch it, and I loved it too. I showed Zach, he loved it, and we were like, man, we just can't not put this match in this list. So number 3 is Pete Dunne versus Tyler Bate at Takeover Chicago for the United Kingdom Championship. And the match was super cool. Obviously, there's history from the United Kingdom tournament from earlier in the year that they, I believe, met in the finals, and Tyler Bate won, becoming the inaugural champion. And so they had that history from that, and both did amazing work in the match. You know, Pete Dunne, from what I've seen of him, is an amazing heel and does really well work. Really well work. He does really good work. And Tyler Bate did awesome as well. He's super athletic. He does this crazy like jump into the rope and like catches it with his neck, and then comes back and like goes for like a kick or something like that. And just the precision of doing that is so insane. And he's only 20 years old, and I believe Pete Dunne maybe like 23 or 24. But for both of them being such a young age, I can only imagine what they're going to accomplish through their time in WWE. Because I would assume that over time they're going to go out of just the UK division and go into the regular rosters at some point because they're so young. They could be the next. They could be the next like Randy Orton's or John Cena's, like the ones that are around for 20 years and do awesome work. They could be those guys, which is great because that's really needed because a lot of the people that have come in from the independent scene have been like in their kind of mid to late 30s and stuff like that, so they don't have as much time. But these guys going in so young, I think that we'll see a lot from them. But the match was really good. There was so much at the beginning, the counters and things like that, and they stiff as heck hits, headbutts and punches and stuff like forearms. And then, but the ending came where Tyler Bate went for a suicide dive, and Pete Dunne kind of craftily like jumped to the side and like he landed hard, and before he could get before Tyler Bate could get his kind of wits about him again, Pete Dunne threw him back in the ring and went for his finisher, which is called the Better End, which I really like it. I like the way his finisher looks. I think it's cool, and he won, becoming the new United Kingdom champion. And I really love the match, and it makes me excited for what these guys are going to bring forth in the future. And that's that match. And then number 2, we have, to me, Zach was talking about the last tag team match, saying it might have been the best showing for tag teams of the year. I might disagree. I might go with this one because at number 2 we had the Usos versus the New Day at SummerSlam. More specifically, this was on the SummerSlam kickoff, which was to me like the ultimate like just like screw you to Vince of like, you think we're not important enough to be on the main show? Well, screw you. We're about to be the best match of the whole dadgum card minus the main event because we're awesome like that. Because the Usos and the New Day, like Zach said, the New Day got kind of stale towards the end of last year, but they showed throughout this year that they're fantastic performers, all three of them, and any combination you put in there of the three, they're going to perform amazingly. And this match was super amazing, was super hard, and similar to the match at Survivor Series, the tag team match. There were so many spots. It's very fast paced. One I do remember the finishing maneuvers was really awesome. Like one of the Usos, I don't obviously remember which one. They're twins. One of the Usos like threw Xavier Woods over the top rope.
Oh yeah.
And the other one caught him for a Samoan drop on the back, like on the floor, and it was so cool. And then they killed Big E with super kicks. Like they hit Big E with like 8 super kicks, like at the same time, and then the double splash, I believe, for the finisher. And it was so cool, it was so awesome. I was like on the edge of my seats, like I think out of my seat for definitely the ending. It was amazing, and I think they show that they're the best 2 teams in WWE, and they said, "Screw you, we're about to make this kickoff show the best dang show ever." Like they killed it, and it was so cool, and it led to them being a huge part of their cards for the rest of the year, which was to me just really awesome.
Yeah. And so let's go from the kickoff show of SummerSlam all the way to the main event. We have the Fatal 4-Way match contested for the Universal Championship match, which saw the champion Brock Lesnar defend his title against Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman, and Samoa Joe. And I think up until this point, there had been a lot of fighting about who was going to face Lesnar next, and even still is. Like, it's just a constant thing because Lesnar shows up so few times throughout the year. It's like, well, who gets to be that challenger? And I think at Great Balls of Fire it was like it was a 5-man like number 1 contender match.
Extreme Rules.
Extreme Rules. I cannot remember any of the
Extreme Rules was when they
Great Balls of Fire was where he defended against Strowman.
Joe won that 5-way and became number 1 contender at Great Balls of Fire.
Right. And so, but I think because Samoa Joe sort of put it on he's honestly like his run in WWE up until on the main card has kind of disappointed me. However, like he's put on a good showing. Like he is a good wrestler. I feel like they could do more storytelling wise with him, and up until this point, that is, like I feel like they could have done more. But honestly, whenever you have him up against these guys, you don't really need much storytelling other than I'm just gonna kick your butt because I'm the best there is. And so that was the claim for all four of these guys. One of the main points in the match is whenever Lesnar got taken out through it, he got power slammed through two tables by Braun Strowman, and he was taken to the back. And so most of the match did feature the other three men and was a major spot fest.
Yeah,
but like it was a very interesting spot fest. It kind of kept you on on the fence about who was going to win, who you even wanted to win, because at times you may have wanted Strowman to win, but then it was like, well, it looks like Joe's going to pick up the victory, and he kind of earned it. But Roman Reigns, is in there, and but then several minutes later, Lesnar comes limping back to the ring, and I think Roman Reigns hits him with a few moves, and each one kind of gets their like position with Brock Lesnar. But the match ended when Roman Reigns went for a spear. It was countered into an F5, and ironically, this is where Reigns was pinned by Lesnar, and yet he's supposed to be set up for a WrestleMania match. And
it's
I don't know. Maybe we're supposed to forget about that. But here it is.
There was other matches in this year. Where our memories are so terrible, obviously.
But this is why we'll echo keeping you woken about. I don't know.
But some other things about this match which were awesome. There was an awesome spear. Lesnar took a lot. Roman speared Lesnar through the barricade. After Strowman put him through the second table, he threw the third table on top of him.
Oh, yeah.
That was awesome. And I think what was really great about this match and why we have such great memories of it was our own personal experience, because this was kind of when we kind of got rejuvenated with our channel at SummerSlam, because we had been so disappointed up until that point with the pay-per-views, and then also the hype of it because we were against each other for the championship, our own championship. Yep. That was the best of 2017 was our feud.
It's true, yes.
And so it came down to the main event, and I had Lesnar and you had Strowman, and then the hype of when Lesnar left, I was like, no. And then when Lesnar came back, I was so hyped, and I was like, yes, Lesnar, I suddenly love you. And you were like, Lesnar, sell some moves.
Yes,
like, it was,
I did say that.
It was like so I think like a big part of this match was our own like love for it and our experience with it, just with what we're doing on the channel.
Yeah,
which I think was really great. But like we said, all 10 of these matches were amazing, and there were other amazing matches that went on throughout the year. So, like we said, if you don't fully agree with this list, if you have other matches that were deserving of to be in talks for this kind of list, then let us know in the comments. We would love to see them. Because there's some matches I even forgot about. Like, I kind of forgot about the Elimination Chamber match.
Yeah.
Just because of the whole Wyatt thing. I kind of forgot about it. A lot of people talked about Owens versus Reigns at Royal Rumble, which was great. There's lots of stuff. So much you could put on this list, but let us know what you thought of it. And if you enjoyed this video, then hit that like button for us. We'd really appreciate it. And we're going to, even though we've said it for so long, we are going to have some top 10s coming out, throughout the next few weeks. But like we said, we hope you enjoyed. Please like the video. Please subscribe if you enjoy our kind of rambling and want to see more of it. We would appreciate it. But I think that's it. We all in all, I think 2017 ends on a high note. I think for the most part, the last pay-per-view wasn't great at all. It kind of sucked, but I'm so happy with where I'm at compared to where I was before SummerSlam. Because before SummerSlam, I was about to like walk out. Like I was like, I'm done with WWE. I'm so done with it. I'm not even a fan anymore. But since SummerSlam, it's I've become much more happier with the product, and it's not perfect, obviously, but it's great still. And I'm excited for what 2018 will bring us. I think we're in for a crazy year as well. This next year. So if you want to see what Wawa Echo thinks of 2018 in WWE, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any content throughout the year. But I think that's about it, guys. So with that, we've been Wawa Echo. I'm Parker.
I'm Zach.
I'm Rachel.
Thank you so much for your contributions to this video, Rachel.
My what?
Your contributions.
I think it's country something. I was like, what?
Yes, your country something. Your contributions to this video were just so invaluable. Like we could not have done anything without your presence here.
Of course not. It's a present.
Yeah.
Presents.
No, that's spelled completely differently. If only that would work for Christmas. It's like, what'd you give me for Christmas? My presents. No, you were supposed to give me a present. No, I brought you my presents. That's the same thing. It's great. But
take it back.
Okay. We will see you guys in 2018. But with that, guys, peace.